on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risk.
Yes. Were you always a great motivational speaker?
You know, when I was born, I was a motivational speaker. The moment I came out, I was doing speeches. I think, look, I got in a lot of fights because there was, well, my grandfather was a boxer, so he was a professional boxer. So when I grew up, I would always hit the bag. He would teach me things. My father was a boxer, so I had it in me to protect myself. Never started a fight my whole life. I was not a bully. I was never mean to people. I was nice to to everybody, to all the kids that weren't that smart at school, the kids that, maybe even got made fun of. I was nice to those kids. So I was always nice to people. But I felt like people knew that they could take advantage of me, or they would try to take advantage of me, and so I would always defend myself. So every fight I got into, it was because somebody came up to me, they pushed me around, and they thought they were going to be able to push me around until I beat the shit out of them. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. That's what I did. So anyway, so I wasn't able, I didn't know how to speak to people from day one. It was something that you had to learn. I mean, you know how many seminars I went to? You understand? I mean, I showed up to every training meeting for 20 years. For 20 years. Like, imagine you doing this right here, listening to speakers and going to training. Just imagine, right? Doing this for 20 years. Now, some of you get scared. You're like, some of you are like, oh my God, I can't do this for 20 years. That's a long time. Well, look, you're going to go to a fucking job for 20 years, right? I mean, you're going to go somewhere for 20 years. To me, I always thought about, I want to go here, because if I go here, I can learn things. And I would rather come here and learn things versus being at home watching TV. It scares, even to this day, it scares me to death that if I'm not here. I don't want, you'll never catch me not showing up to a meeting because I'm at home watching TV.
This is all you know.
This is what I know. This is in me. I mean, this is what I do. And but if I'm not here, usually it's because I'm speaking somewhere else or I'm traveling. Those are the two reasons. If you don't see me here, I know Jose the other night, he's like, hey dude, where are you? Jose, our newest stud, right? He keeps me accountable now, right? So he's like, "Where are you, coach?" And I said, "I'm right around the corner. I was speaking somewhere else." And he's like, "Where are you?" And I said, and so anyways, that was kind of fun. Yeah, that's what he said. He said, "Leaders show up on time." You can't use my shit on me, okay? That's not no good, So you just got to get better, and you got to stay consistent.
Well, I
okay?
always felt comfortable talking.
That's good.
I'm not intimidated by people. I always initiate it, but I think it's that I want a purpose.
Yeah.
To help out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And this is it. To me, this is the perfect purpose, because this gives you everything that you want. There's a thing called the 6 human needs. Okay, and these are things that are absolute in every one of our lives. As human beings, if we don't get these six things in our life, we will never be as fulfilled as we can be. Okay? And so, for example, contribution, right? We all have to feel like we're contributing in some way. And you see people walking around they're depressed.
Yeah.
Come on. Why is it that America is drugged right now? It's because people are depressed. And they're depressed because some of those 6 human needs that they really need, they're not being met. They're not being met. And so you got to make sure. So Primerica, in my opinion, gives you every human need that you want. Self-improvement, contribution, the feeling of variety. Think about it, right? Every time I come down to the office, it's a new day. It's a new bunch of people. I meet people I've never met before. Every time I go on an appointment, it's variety. It's a different thing. People are depressed. Why? Because they're in traffic driving to the same fucking job for all these years, right? Think about it. Forever they're going to the same job, sitting in the same traffic, hating their life for 20 years. They hate their life. They're depressed. They're on drugs. They need to pop some pills to make them feel better. But you go to my house, I don't need to go home and have a drink before I go to bed. I mean, think about how many people in America right now, they have to have a drink before they go to bed. How effed up is your life right now if you got to have a drink before you go to bed? Your life is messed up, in my opinion. Now, if you want to have a drink because you want to drink, that's fine. But I don't need a drink. Yeah. You know, if I want to go have a drink, I'll go have a drink. But I don't need a drink to make me feel better because I had such a shitty day. Yeah. Never. In 20 years, you never catch me going, I need a drink, man. My day's so bad. My life is so horrible. I need a drink. That's horrible. People are depressed. To people, I'm just telling you, people, but that's the deal, right? That's why I kept showing up here. Because the environment that I get here is unlike anything I've ever gotten in my life. This is, to me, this is the greatest opportunity in the planet, all right, on the planet, because it gives me every one of those needs. All the things that I need to be a positive, motivating, motivated, fired up, excited person that cares, that has a purpose. I have a desire and really like a crusade. Imagine most people in America are broke. Most people are having financial problems. I get to fix that. How awesome is that? Every day I get up, I get to make a difference. We paid out over $103 million in death claims. How do you, I mean, think about it. How would you feel knowing that all of those families, that's probably 200, 300 families, we changed their life forever. Huge, huge. All right, you have a question.
Yeah, so my question is, okay, so me being newly licensed and everything, being new to the business, so my thing is I'm social. I could be social, but I'm like a comfortable socialist. So it's like if I already know you, then I socialize with you a little bit more than I would somebody that's like on the streets or average or, something like that I don't know. So how would you go about as far as saying being comfortable, actually when you meet these people to keep them motivated to keep coming and actually show them that, you want them to be here and you want to help them grow? How would you go about that, being a person that's kind of like anti-social?
You kind of want, you want to be social with these people to keep them coming back, but you're really not like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a story that will pertain to your situation. My upline, the guy that kind of mentored me in the business, his name's Hector. He's an introvert. Hector's an introvert. I mean, he's not comfortable being around crowds. He's not comfortable being around a bunch of people all the time. I think even me, right? I love people, but I noticed we just had a Super Bowl party, and I remember telling Karma, I was like, you know what? How many really meaningful conversations did I have tonight? And you want to know the answer? Not too many. Because I floated around and I talked to everybody, but you get me cornered right here, and I feel uncomfortable too. I do that too, right? I mean, it's a normal thing. It's not a normal thing to just, be comfortable when somebody's staring you in the eye, having a conversation, you're in the corner, you know what I mean? Nobody feels totally comfortable with that. And you're not going to feel totally comfortable ever in that situation. But what I can tell you is that if every day you got up and you said, look, number one, I'm going to show up. Number two, I'm going to be genuine with people. I'm going to be myself with people. I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to let people know I care. But if you're doing all the right things, the right people are going to want to be in your environment. Right. They're going to want to be with you because you're showing them a life that they want to have. It's kind of like with me, right? Throughout all these years, the only reason why we had so many people through the years follow us is because they watched me and my life being created. They were a part of that. Kind of like, how, even on social media right now, we love social media because we're watching people's journeys. Do you guys get that? Yeah. We're watching, think about it. We don't even watch TV anymore. Who watches sitcoms anymore? You know what I mean? It's like we watch other people's lives and their journeys on their life. Well, same thing here. There was a lot of people, our first really, really successful guy, his name was Frank Beltran, okay? He was our, first guy that I kind of really influenced a lot to jump on board and follow me the whole way. The reason why Frank, and I don't think he's ever admitted this, but I know the truth, okay? Because when we recruited Frank, he was making $100,000 and we were only making $50,000. Okay? So, and this guy's like 10 years older than me, maybe, yeah, almost 10 years older than me. So he is, so when I was, he was 35, I was 25, I probably met him at 23 or 24 or something like that. And he was like over in his 30s already, with a family. Matter of fact, he lived in the same neighborhood as where I lived. The same neighborhood, but he owned the house. I lived with my parents. Think about that for a second, right? So how did I get somebody like that to follow me? I did all the right things. I was the first one there, last one to leave, just like you guys were the first ones here tonight. I was the first one there. I was the last one to leave. I did everything I was supposed to do. I went out after every event. I spent time with people. I was getting a lot of results. I was winning awards, making money. I was doing all the right things. So, but I knew that in the back of his mind, he was thinking to himself, I don't want this kid to do it without me. You know what I mean? Like, I made him feel like he was going to get left behind. If you don't follow me, because I'm moving, I'm going, I'm going to do, like, I might be making half what you're making right now, but 10 years from now, I'll be making 10 times what you're making. That was my message. So the sense of loss, sometimes like you're saying, like, how do you get people to keep coming? It's like, that's why you got to do all the right things, because sometimes people will do things because of a sense of loss. Yeah. If they feel like they're going to get left behind, or if, that's why you never, like Tanisha talked about it tonight, I mean, never worry about the ones that quit. Because they're going to quit anyways. They'll quit on you. They'll quit on anything. They always quit. I mean, on all kinds of things in their life. I mean, if you go back to all the people that quit on me, and you look at their lives, this is just another thing that they quit. They quit shit all the time, right? They give up all the time. They can't even get their bathroom finished. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, those people that just like, they can't finish shit. They can't finish nothing. And so I said, I'm going to finish something. I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to get it done. And so all these people, they were just watching me. I was relentless. I was obsessed with this. Every day I was thinking about this. Every day I was going to workshops and seminars and watching videos and listening to tape cassettes and, all that stuff, man. And people used to make fun of me, my friends and, people I went to high school with, my homies, you know what I mean? The broke people, yeah. Well, we were all broke. Think about it. We were all broke back then. But all these people, they made fun of me. And they laughed at me, and they told me that I was stupid for doing this. And they would say things like, oh, are you a millionaire yet? You making all that money yet? Are you rich yet? And I'd say, look, I'm not rich yet, but I'm working on it, man. Nobody gets rich overnight. Anything get rich quick is bullshit, But I'm just saying that at least while I was telling them that, I was legitimately trying. Like, I wasn't acting like I was trying. I was really trying. It's kind of like right now in my life. I'm doing all kinds of things right now. I'm getting my social media going, my YouTube channel's running, my Instagram. Kendra knows, man. I'm on fire right now. I mean, I got like content coming out my you-know-what, all right? So it's like, I mean, but I have a vision, It's kind of like when I first started Primerica, I had a vision for the future. I knew if I did this and this and this, I was going to explode it. Same way I feel right now. If I do this and this and this, I'm going to explode it. And nothing's going to stop me. I'm just telling you, nothing is going to stop me. I'm going full board, all in. I'm building a whole, look, we got 43 offices. I mean, we have, I don't know, 23, 24 now. We got to put up another picture up there. We have 24 people that make over $100,000 a year, right? Under me, right? Just in my organization. There ain't nobody in California that has been in the business as long as I've been in the business that has an organization that looks like that. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, okay? And it's only like, I could tell you we got about 10 just this year, new ones that if they listen to me, if they follow what I tell them to do, we got another 10 that will pop up on that wall this year. So imagine the next 5 years, we could put up another 50, 60, 70 people that make over $100,000 a year. So in the next 5 years, I plan on having 100 RVPs making $100,000 a year.
Yes.
We could do that.
Yes.
We could do that. It's absolutely possible. But we just got to find the right people. And we can't let the people that quit stop us and ruin our... I was just telling Jose, like, you know, because it's frustrating in the beginning. Look, we're human beings, man. When your buddy quits on you, and he told you that we're going to go change the world together, and then he quits 3 weeks later, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that hurts, man. It hurts inside. It's not a fun feeling. It doesn't feel good. But guess what? That never stopped me, man. Matter of fact, it made me want to win more. Honestly, it made me want to be successful more because I wanted to prove to them that it was going to work. I knew it would work because so many other people made it work, right? Since 1977, there's thousands of people that make over $100,000 a year. So it's like, why can't I at least, I mean, like I said, worst case scenario, I make 100 grand. Well, I mean, at least I'm in the top 3% of America if I make 100 grand, right? So, I mean, that's like the worst case scenario. But wonder if I can make $1 million, right? And we were able to do that. So anything is possible if you want it bad enough. It's just you got to keep pushing. But the problem is that everybody lets those well-meaning parents and friends and coworkers, we let them get in our head. Those are the people that blow everybody out of the business. And that's the sad thing is that then you live your whole life. Like, look, it's like that, what's that, you know, the lobsters or whatever, right? Like, you know, it's the crabs, you know, they're boiling in the water and they're trying to get out, and then the rest of them are trying to pull them back down like, hey, dude, you're going to die anyways, bro. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. I mean, that's it. And it just sucks, you know, it sucks. There's another story about the monkeys. The monkeys are, you know, they start, or there was like a banana thing, right? And then the monkeys would start climbing up the rope to get the banana at the top. But as soon as the monkey would get about halfway, they would spray the monkey with like ice cold water. And then the monkey would come down and they wouldn't get the banana, right? And so eventually, they would switch out the monkeys, right? They would switch them out. So new people would come in. New people would come in. New monkeys would come in. And then what would happen was the monkeys would come in and they wouldn't go up the rope, even though there was a bunch of bananas at the top. But they didn't know why they weren't going up. They didn't even know why, because they you know, so many monkeys were like, hey dude, don't go up the rope, man. Don't go up the rope. The rope, or you're gonna get sprayed, man. You're gonna get sprayed. It's gonna be bad. Don't do it. Don't do it. And that's what, right? Our parents and well-meaning friends and stuff like that, what do they tell us? They go, don't do it, man. You're gonna be disappointed. You're gonna fail, because you know what? Most people fail. It's like a pyramid thing, you know. Only the people at the top, you know. Only the people at the top, they make it, you know. So you better be careful, you know. Don't, you know, they're gonna try to motivate you, but man, don't listen to them, because they're just trying to make money off of you, man. You know, yeah, go to your job, stay at your job, because that's you know, they're not trying to make money at you at your job, you know. Of course not, you know. So, but yeah, you know, don't do that, man. You got to be very careful. Do not take risk, okay? Because risk, that's scary. If you take risk and then you fail, then you'll be sad. And it's like, you know? And then you'll waste your time and all that stuff. And it's like, it's sad. Yes, question.
Something kind of different, but...
Okay, yeah, anything.
With what animal do you relate? I'm not related. You can see your...
What's your spirit animal?
Lion. Of course, it's a lion, man.
Why, of course? Why?
Well, I mean,
why?
Well, I don't know. I actually, that's a very good question. I mean, I think the only answer I could tell you is that, I mean, a lion's fierce, you know. I mean, a lion's willing to fight for themselves, and they're willing to protect themselves. I mean, if there's a lion out there and people or other animals are trying to attack the lion, they're going to protect themselves, right? They're going to fight back, right? That's me. I'm a fighter, man. I've always been a fighter. I fight. I'm like battles that come to me, I'm willing to fight them. That's why, like, every one of you guys can count on me. Like, I'm in the foxhole with you.
Right.
Like, I'm willing to fight the battle with you. This is what I do. This is my ring, man. I'm not a, we don't, at least, thank God we don't get bloodied or die or anything like that, right? But I'm willing to fight for what I believe in. I think that's the answer. And I see a lion as being a fighter. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe lions don't fight or whatever.
Maybe
but
wolves or wolves fight.
I mean, she would call me a bull. You know what I mean? So bullheaded. You know what I mean? So she would call me a bull, but I like to go with the lion. So anyway, so what's the next question? What's the next question?
I got one, Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Who are your three heroes?
Art Williams, Hector Lamarck in business. Hector Lamarck and
That's your mentor?
yeah, that's my mentor. And Art Williams is the guy that started the business. Walt Disney, yeah. Walt Disney went bankrupt 6 times before he built Disneyland.
Yeah.
So, and I actually used to be a float driver, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. At Disneyland.
That's
when
so
I was,
weird because our daughters just did reports on Walt Disney like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
We had to of course we had to do the reports.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, but Walt Disney he took a major risk.
A lot of them.
I mean, think about it. When we bought this building, we were 27 years old or something like that. Or no, you said about 30. We were about 30 years old, and we bought this building. Over $1 million we paid for this building. And so, how scary was that? Right? Scary. When the average 30-year-old has a net worth of like, negative or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's not easy. I mean, to buy a building, you have to be solid financially. You cannot, you know this, you have to be solid. And that's the one thing I'm very proud of, is that we've always, that's what I'm saying, like, you can count on me. Like, you know that I ain't going nowhere. Like, you know that I've planted my flag. This is what I'm going to do. I've been doing it for over 20 years, and this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 20 years. I mean, and I look at like a Walt Disney or something like that. I mean, he made his mind up to build Disneyland. And he spent the rest of his life until he was dead building Disneyland. That was his love. That was his, everything. Absolutely.
He would not settle.
Absolutely. And so and then you look at Art Williams. I mean, you guys don't even know what you don't even know. I mean, this company, the things that it went through to be what it is. I don't even know if the story is true, but somebody was telling me a story one time about Art was in a plane with a bunch of his top guys, right? His top executives, like all the $1 million earners of his company at that time. And he was flying a plane, and somebody asked him, "Hey man, aren't you scared? Like, if that plane goes down, your whole company's wiped out, man. Everybody's wiped out." And he says, "We're a company of destiny. We're not going nowhere." So there's a little bit of divine in that, in what happened here. And as you study the company, as time goes on and you study it, I want you guys to I think it's a good idea to study it, because the more you study the financials of how this thing was created, it cannot be duplicated again. You'll never duplicate another Primerica, just so you guys know. It just, financially, it's not possible. Unless some other company decided to start scratch and invested, tens of billions of dollars or whatever. I mean, it would be very difficult to start something like this on your own. And to have it the way it is, it would be very, very difficult. And there was a lot of days back in the early days of the business where Art used to get up on the stage and he used to tell everybody, "Look, man, we probably will not be here in another year." And he would tell people. And you understand, in the early days, they used to change their comp all the time. He would just get on the TV show and he'd be like, "All right, bonuses are gone." You know what I mean? Like we don't even know. There was like, we may not get paid this month. Like, those are the conversations. We don't even know. I mean, they used to puncture their tires, throw eggs at their houses, like the early people that started the company. Because remember, this was in a different era where the people that we were fighting against an industry. So there was insurance agents that sold whole life policies. Okay?
Oh, the competition.
The competition. So we would go in there, we would steal their business. And that's what they lived on, was the trails of their business, right? If their whole life policy stayed on the books, they made money every single year on those policies. Well, we came in there, we stole all their business. And so guess what? They were not happy. They said that we were scams, right? That's where all that started, right? We were a scam. They're a bunch of part-timers. They don't know. They're not fully licensed. They don't know what they're doing. They're not trained. All that stuff, right? So they were going again. We were fighting an industry. We were fighting a huge monster of an industry. Remember, this industry had been around for 100 years before we even started. Remember, life insurance had been sold for over 100 years. I mean, you know, probably 150 years life insurance has been sold. So in 1977, when we started selling term insurance and mutual funds, everybody said that was crazy. And then on top of that, we had a system where if I recruit you, I make money from you as I recruit. You understand, that was not normal back in 1977. So it was such a new concept. Now we take it for granted. I mean, these companies are everywhere, right? But back then, they thought we were crazy. And they tried to come again. And so it was not easy in the early days. So to me, like I look at an Art Williams, huge risk taker. Huge, major risk this guy took to create what's created today. So I don't know, for me, it's not just a company. Like this is my cause. This is what I believe in. And I know so much about it. And again, I could talk to you guys for hours about the history of the company. I mean, it's very fascinating. Once you learn more about it, there's a documentary on my YouTube channel, so go to it. It's in the Primerica playlist. And it's like a 30-minute documentary of Primerica. You guys, especially, I know most of you guys have watched it already, but if you have not watched it, you need to watch it before you go to bed tonight, honestly. Before you go to bed tonight. It's 30 minutes long, but do it because it's going to give you an understanding of how this thing started, and it'll give you just a different feeling in your stomach. Because people come in here and they're like, it's just a job. It's just my Primerica thing. It's just my Primerica job. No. This is like a company of destiny. You're a part of something that is bigger than all of us. And very, very special, by the way. This company was built by very, very special people. And so anyways, you had a question?
Your biggest fear?
My biggest fear, well, in the beginning, my biggest fear was people and not knowing enough. So that's why I studied so hard early on. I mean, I really mastered my craft because I was afraid of not knowing. And probably today, that might be a major fear of mine even today, is making sure that I know what I'm talking about. I study late at night. I study early in the morning. I read articles. I learn about so many different types of things because I want to be prepared if I ever come across a situation like that, that, you know, I'll know how to overcome whatever objection.
But the personal fear, not about business.
Okay, I mean, skydiving. Yeah, maybe skydiving. I mean, I don't want to jump out of a perfectly good plane. I think it's stupid, you know. No, I'm afraid of probably, I mean, that would be a major, you know, fear, like jumping out of a plane. I mean, that would not feel safe to me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, I have a question. So, okay, I have two questions actually. So, is Primerica the only company that offers term insurance? And then my other question is, in your experience of like going through with people, as far as what do you think is their real like objection to not having like why would that not occur to them, especially like dealing with a younger crowd? Why would that not be something that they would think about having? What would you say?
Life insurance, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, I mean, somebody that's young, life insurance is an option for them. Because I don't believe that, like when I joined the business at 21, I didn't need life insurance because I was living at home. So technically I didn't need it. Now I did buy it because I wanted to practice what I was preaching and I wanted to know the product so well, right? When I got my policy, guess what I did? I read the shit. I knew every line of that policy. I was so educated, and then I would take it back to my upline, and I would ask him questions. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? So that way I knew everything. So, but as far as like I'm saying that because it's very difficult. The reason why I don't set up appointments with young people is because there's no what's the word I'm looking for? There's no insurable interest? Yeah, there's no insurable interest. There's no need. There's no need there. And it's very difficult to sell somebody where there's no need. Like I can't make you, if you have no kids and you're just a young person, like you don't have no kids, right? You're not married, right? It's very difficult. Now you may own the product and that's fine. You might be like me to say, hey, look, I want to practice what I preach, which is smart. But you don't need life insurance. So therefore, it would be very difficult. It would be very difficult for me to sell him with a straight conscience, right? Because I'm not going to sell something to somebody that they don't need something. Now, for me, my rationale of my need was my need to practice what I'm preaching. That was my need. And I had a selfish thought of like, look, if I die, I want to make sure I give my mom a lot of money. Does that make sense? So
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say too. So say for instance like me, like I'm single, I have no kids, you know, and the only thing is I'm thinking of like, you know, me, if something was to happen to me, I don't want, and I know I don't have that many debts, but you know, if I had debt, I don't want it to fall back on my mom.
Of course.
So that's typically what would happen to a younger person without kids if that was to happen, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah. I mean, and so that was my rationale too. Like something happens to me, I want to give my mom a bunch of money. And it only cost me $50 a month, big deal. I can afford that, right? It's $1 a day, $1 something a day, big deal. So for me, it wasn't an issue. So hopefully that answers a little bit. I mean, that's their main issue though, is that a lot of people don't think like you.
Yeah, and that's my main thing, because I want to get comfortable, because I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I did join this business before with Tasha at one point. But then I ended up, and I was younger at the time, so like I seen a need for it, but I didn't really like engage with it. So I ended up dropping out. But this time I came back, and it's crazy because I had thought, and I'm like, you know what, like I'm sitting here and I'm talking about finances. Like I'm sitting here talking about I want to get into school for business. I want to grow and be my own boss. And I'm like, hold on, I don't even know how I even connected back with her. But I ended up hitting her up, and then I ended up, you know, doing this with her.
It's a law of attraction. It's a law of attraction.
I saw her, her stay with her. I'm like, hold on, if Tasha's in it for this long, something must be good out of it, you know. And I grew up with her. So then me coming in now, I made it this far to actually get my license. I know this is what I want to do, but my main thing is engaging.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. Me coming every time.
Look, it's real simple. Show up to everything. Okay? That's the first step, man. Look, if you guys aren't going to be here on Tuesday night, you might as well just quit now. Because it doesn't make any sense, right? It never made any sense to me. Like, if I own a 7-Eleven, I have to go there every day and open up the 7-Eleven because people have to have coffee in the morning. Right? I mean, they have to have coffee. Like, you have to open up your shop. It was never an issue. Like, it was never well, I just don't feel like showing up tonight. Like, I never felt that way. Like, never, ever, ever. I was like, this is my fucking business. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for my upline. I'm not doing it for this is my business. Why would I not show up to my own business? That is stupid. That is idiotic, dumbest thing you could ever do. It doesn't make any sense. So I used to have conversations like this with my guys. So, or at least the ones that would show up, I would get this information. Eventually, I would say it so many times, they started to figure it out and go, shit, I'm going to start showing up. And then we started having more people show up. And then and then all I'd ever talk about is show up. Make sure you bring people. So guess what you need to do? Tuesday night, you need to show up and bring people. Like, why would you just show up? Now, again, you got to show up no matter what. Because there is a thought that people like to have. Well, I don't have anybody coming, so I'm not going to show up. You understand? People think that way. That's equally as stupid. Okay? That's just dumb. Okay? Ever catch you saying that, you're in trouble. Okay? But you got to bring, because think about it. if I'm going to show up, I'm going to work for 7 days to try to get somebody. I'm not going to start calling people on Monday and try to get them there on Tuesday. Right? Like when Tuesday night was over, guess what I would be doing? Already calling people for the following Tuesday night. Confirming. Like I talk to a lot of my teammates, and you know what I say, how many you got coming? They're like, well, I got 3. No. If you invite 3, guess how many are going to come? None. Yeah, you might get lucky and 1 shows up. Nah, you might get lucky and whatever, right? But come on, right? You can never invite less than 10. You have to invite 10 people at least, minimum. Have a sheet of paper with 10 lines on it. And do not stop calling people and making new friends and prospecting until 10 people say, I'm coming. Do you guys get that?
Yes.
That's why your meeting attendance sucks. It's because you don't call enough people and you don't confirm enough people. Period. End of story. Okay? And then you got to set up appointments. Okay. Why do we set up appointments? Because we got to know how to do the dang business, right? If we don't understand how to do a presentation, how are we going to ever do a presentation? Your trainer's not going to take you on appointments forever, right? Jose, I'm not going with Jose no more. He's on his own, man. He's a big boy. I'm not going with him. I know he wants me to go with him sometimes. I ain't going with him no more. He's on his own, man. He's a big boy. I took him on a lot of training appointments, man. We went on a lot of training appointments, and he's done. Now he's got to figure out crap on his own now. I'm going to let him get his nose bloodied. Okay, I'm going to let him get his nose bloodied like I got my nose bloodied. And I was tough enough to keep going. And I know he's going to be tough enough to keep going too. Okay, because I'm not, by the way, I'm not training a bunch of wimpy ass people. Okay, if you're a wimp, you might as well quit now. Because this business is not made for wimps. This business is made for the strong. The strong, look, that's life though. The strong survive. You understand that, guys? The strong, is that right, Fred? I mean, the strong survive. I'm sorry. Right. Like whether you like it, whether it's politically correct to say that or whatever, it's the damn truth. The strong survive. So might as well become stronger every day. Yes, sir.
So when you started the business, how long did it take you to figure out what you were actually doing?
I mean, look, I knew how to do a presentation the day I got licensed.
I mean, not the presentation, but I mean, when everything...
Like how to build it.
Right.
Well, I mean, that takes time. I mean, it still took me 3 years to become an RVP. So it wasn't like I became an RVP my first day. And by the way, a lot of you guys don't know, it took me a year to go from district to division. A year to go from district to division. Look at my plaques in my office. The plaques show the dates right there. It took me a long time because I couldn't. Now, just so you guys know, our guidelines were way harder. The guidelines were way harder than they are today, just so you know. But it still took me a long time. There was still a lot that I didn't figure out, guys. Okay? There was look, any business takes time. You gotta learn things, man. So I can't give you a certain date, but what I can say that it probably took me about 2.5 years to figure this thing out because that's when I really started to do 10 grand. It was when I started to do 10 grand every single month personal, I was about 2.5 years in, or 2 years in, or something like that.
At any point from those 2 years, did you ever feel like, I'm done?
No, never. I never thought quit. That's the one thing I can say. I never, and I know that's not like the normal thing to say. I swear to God, I swear to you, okay? I never thought quit. And you know why? I'll tell you why. Because all my goals were written down. And they were right on my wall that I could see every single day. A lot of you guys don't have your goals written on your wall. See, my goals were I had 150 goals written down of a lifetime on my wall. So if it ever became even a slight thought, I would crush it so fast because where am I going to go? Where am I going to go where I'm going to live in $1 million home? Where am I going to go where I'm going to make $1 million a year? Where am I? If you ever looked at my goals, I mean, it was like one of my goals was make 10 grand a month. One of my goals was make 20,000 a month. One of my goals was make 50,000 a month. Because I know some of you guys are like, man, that's a lot of goals, 150 goals. Now, that's how my goals are. If you ever look at my goals, I'll show you two, and they're in my iPad. But like if you ever look at them, they were like 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, 100,000 a month. Do you know what I mean? So like I had all these goals that were completely unattainable anywhere else that I would have gone to in my life. So what am I going to quit? What am I going to quit to? So when people quit, it's usually because their goals aren't big enough. Or they have no goals at all. Or they just don't look at their goals. Yes?
What is the reason you picked Primerica instead of another?
That's a great question. The reason why I picked my company versus any other company is because we do what's right. And I swear to you, Jose, I went to every library that I could, I read every book that I could get my hands on, trying to figure out what's the difference between us and them. I remember early on, I would call up other insurance companies. I was 21 years old, and I would call up an insurance company. I would say, hey, you know, I got a young family, and, you know, I'm 25 with a couple of kids. And, you know, I had no kids. You know, I was living in my mom's, you know, attic, basically, converted attic. And I would call up the other insurance companies. I'd say, yeah, you know, I'm a young family. What would you recommend? And they would be like, oh, yeah, we'd recommend a whole life policy or a this or that or whatever, right? Crap insurance. They're a bunch, they are scam artists. Yeah. They're a freaking scam.
That's wild.
And I got so angry with the industry. And then I watched so many videos. I would like watch 2020, and they would have like undercover things where these agents would go into their houses and they would be scamming people. And then, of course, you know, I learned from really, really smart people on how really variable life insurance works and understanding what a scam it is for people. Because, like, look, I remember I had a guy one time, he was in my business actually, and I knew him growing up. His name was Jeff. And I remember him telling me, he's like, I'm thinking, I want to know, like, what's the difference? You know what I mean? So I came in one Saturday morning. We used to do our trainings on Saturday morning. I came in on Saturday morning. I did a 3-hour training just on that policy. That he brought me a policy. I did a 3-hour training on that policy. I went line by line, showed everybody in the room what a mess this thing was, what a scam this policy was. And he still went and worked with the other company. He actually left and he went and worked with the other company. So I knew he was a snake. I knew he was a scam. I never talked to him again. But again, it just goes to show that, look, why is there criminals and why is there good people? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is some people a criminal and why are some people good people that, you know, whatever? And so to me, I had the choice. I could have went to that other company and I could have been a criminal and sold a bad product to good people. Or I could have stayed here. Even though I make less money, by the way. I make less money than if I would have went to that other company. Because I guarantee I probably would have made more money. But today, I wouldn't be able to look you in the eye and say, mathematically, like I'm talking the facts are the facts, you cannot dispute the fact that my product beats the shit out of that product every single time. Without fail.
So those type of companies, I mean you wouldn't know because you're not with them, but at the same time you might.
No, I know everything about what they do.
So why would they want to sell something like variable and whole life insurance?
Because they make more money. No. It's a commission-based product. By the way, if you ever read Personal Finance for Dummies, it's one of those yellow books, you know, those dummy books. It says it. It says it in the book. I think page 147. It says in the book, it says, the reason why they sell these policies is because of the huge commissions that they pay. And it just goes on to say that, you know, 80% of people that own life insurance own cash value life insurance because they don't know any better. Please don't make the same mistake. And so, look, but that's a lot of things. I mean, come on, there are scam auto insurance dealers.
Right.
Do you, or auto dealers or whatever, or like a used car sales guy, right? I mean, he knows that car's gonna break down, right? He knows the car is shit, but he'll still sell it to you, right? Because it's commission. It's a commission, right? If I was a bad guy, I'd have went and sold that other product just for the money, because I wanted to just make a lot of money. But I felt like, look, man, I'm gonna be in business for a long, long time. I'd rather sleep at night. I'd rather do what's right.
And you enjoy it.
And then I get to enjoy it. Like, look, $1 million and $2 million a year, I don't think I'm going to be living that much differently, honestly. Now, I mean, again, I want to make more money, and I'm planning on making a lot more money. But the truth is, I want to do what's right. I want to do what's in the best interest of my recruits and my company and my family and my clients at all times.